Après-midi, t'es
Andiamo, forza! No, ma con devi stare. Puedo matarti a disparo!
Si è volatilizzato. Me ne vado.
Executor peccata mundo.
عارف ده اللي جه عنها
ليس مهما كما ظننت سأفعل.
صدقني الله
Since the dawn of time, man has looked for ways to express himself. He began by etching pictures into rock faces, creating scenes of vivid imagery. Then he moved to ink and parchment. Then he moved to paint and canvas. Then he went back to ink and parchment, and he realized that if he made several similar images with slight deviations between them, he could simulate movement. Animation was born. Man also liked to express himself by sticking his dick into almost anything and everything. Naturally, sex and this new animation were destined to collide and birth something wholly new. Flash forward a bit. Dude shot World War I. Hitler, World War II. Imperial Japan, Dunzo. America's here. Disney, Japan, anime? Porn? Hentai. Woo! Yeah! And with this creation, this hentai, a beautiful thing happened. On the top of a mountain, a man stood. A man who really liked anime, but didn't really like smacking it. You know, he really didn't enjoy jerking his gherkin. And then another man, not nearly as rare as the other, also came up to that mountain. He didn't really care for anime, like me, but he liked busting a nut all the fucking time, like me. Together, on that mountain, they crossed arms like brothers, and they looked towards the horizon. And as the sun rose, they foresaw a new kingdom to be built, a pathway by which their people would converge and accept each other. And together these two men were going to create a beautiful world, but unfortunately somebody had to fuck it up. We're talking about lollies today, boys. What the fuck is that? Just getting a slurp of my orange juice. Alright, with this video starting, and it's going to be a long one, it's going to be a doozy, it might make you a little uncomfortable, so maybe grab yourself some pretzels, grab yourself some Milkies, cover yourself in a big old blankie, you know, big fucking bear blankie, just do that shit, don't have your dick out, because it's going to get nasty. I wanted to preface something, and I wanted to preface that anime is fine. If you like anime, you're all good with me, brother. It would be closed-minded of me to say otherwise. But I do have some negative jokes directed towards anime in this video, and I just wanted to make sure that y'all know that those are just jokes. There's some serious stuff in this video, and not everything I'm going to be saying is a joke, but I think you'll be able to tell the difference between a joke and a serious statement. Alright? Now with that said, fuck anime. That shit is cringe. I go onto the fucking Wolfenstein community page on Steam. I see this fucking shit. What the? Right, so a bit of backstory to this video's creation. I was perusing the World Wide Web, being my Christian self, looking for nothing in particular, totally not looking for some of that dank-ass anime pussy, until I came across this website, and it happened to be a hentai website. And of course, I'm shocked, right? I'm like, what? Oh my god, this isn't the Bible. What? But after the initial shock wears off, I decide to investigate the site further. And for the most part, the site seems pretty chill. You know, besides the drawn women getting cock blasted up every known hole connected to them. But there were a few things that seemed slightly off, slightly askew. Then I discovered that the site has a news section. So of course, I'm a curious cat. I checked it out. And, oh boy, what I discovered, both the news and the people's comments connected to said news, was fucking despicable. What I saw was like looking through a crack into hell. It was the worst thing I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot. This is fucking worse than Stalin bending Adolf Hitler over backwards as Mussolini records it in the back with a handycam. And perhaps you think I'm being overdramatic. Oh, surely, it's not that awful. It might be a bit cringy or have a few bad takes in it, but I bet it's not that bad.
Perhaps some
you
stuff
should kill yourself. Mommy and dad, kill yourself. They're bullshit. God/they really made women to be legitimate, no matter how, should be nuked immediately. Yeah, it is pretty fucking bad. Okay, and now that you've had a taste of hell, why don't you say we cover ourselves in lube, pop on a condom, and dive deeper into this hellish microcosm?
What are you watching?
Planet Chaser, Starlight Excellent.
Is it good?
I watch Planet Chaser, Starlight Excellent all day, every day. All day, every day.
Alright, with the start of this section, I wanted to say I'm trying to give this site as little publicity as possible while still showing off everything that I feel needs to be seen. So I've censored a lot of things, I've done away with people's names, and I've hidden the name of the site. Of course, the site will still be pretty easy to find, even with censorship, for those who want to look for it. But for those who don't, I feel no need to give you the headache that is caused by being aware of this site in full. There is already a pretty good amount of anonymity provided by this site to begin with, so that makes my job quite a bit easier. And regardless of their anonymity, what these people are saying is not excused just because they hide behind obscurity. Though some of these people may be just making edgy statements that they don't believe in just because they are anonymous, I think it's mostly the opposite, where they are making these ridiculous claims that they truly believe in because they know that there is no consequences in their statements. And I think that the articles on this site themselves harbor these whack opinions, and the amount of kudos some of these comments receive support my line of thought. Right, so the articles themselves are fucking dirt. Like, they cover the most who cares kind of shit I've ever seen. Unless they're actually talking about hentai, which though isn't important, is what I'd have expected articles on this site to be like. It's really when they try to cover something outside of their bubble of expertise. Well, gee, were you really expecting top-tier journalism from a frickin' hentai site? Well, Mama always said not to judge a book by its cover. And no, I didn't expect god-tier stuff, but I never would have guessed it would have been like this. Dr.
Among Us
Chinaman rapes the competition. Destiny 2 gender options changed to masculine and feminine? Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War inserts non-binary option? What? Oh my god! No! No! I can't live with this! Oh god! Oh god! Oh god! Oh god! My fucking fingernails are falling off! Oh god, I can't breathe! The walls, they're closing in on me! I'm hyperventilating! I'm gonna die! Oh god! Biden cake, kinda funny though. But seriously, these things that are so minute in their effect on their respective games that they are forgotten about in mere seconds does not warrant a baby bitch boy of an article. I'll cover their gorilla-headed complaints about the concept of transgenderism in a bit. And the images connected to these articles. Holy fuck. It's almost parody level. It could be about something as fucked up as a terrorist attack, 13 confirmed dead, 24 injured, and they'd still see it fit to have the image accompanying this news be some anime cunt. It's almost as if their bionic booger boy brains could not comprehend the news if it wasn't attached to a picture of some sexualized, likely underaged anime bitch.
A package courier found shot in the head near Good Springs has reportedly regained consciousness and made a full recovery. Now that's a delivery service you can count on.
And, oh, I found this interesting. An article titled Animaniacs 2020 More Political Than Ever Before. You can really see how far behind I am on making this video. When not pasting objectives straight from the horse's mouth, the article's commentary has a weirdly timid vibe to it. Animaniacs has once again covered topical political statements and is bound to have many questioning the accuracy of some of the jokes and scenes. Ooh, sounds like a bit of projection from our auteur here. But considering current year and the absurd propaganda constantly pushed out by certain individuals, many were expecting the show to be forced into committing to the narrative. Again, It sounds like the writer of this article is almost afraid of what commentary might be brought out of this reboot, when no, that's exactly why it was a pretty good time to bring back the Animaniacs. It seems more like the writer of this article is afraid of particular agendas showing up in their cartoons. And yep, the comments pretty much confirm this. Speaking of agendas,
Every day.
trannies and women and gays, oh my! Trannies and women and gays, oh my! Trannies and women and gays, oh my! Is what I would say if I was a daily frequenter of this site's news section. Seriously, I've seen stupidity, but this is fucking lunacy. And homophobic. And sexist. And racist. Almost forgot about that one. And transphobic. Here, 1 minute. Let me find an example. Okay, found one. Oh, you know what? I've got a pretty hefty collection of examples here. It'd probably be better if I just bisect this section into even tinier sections so we can go through the list. Here, let me shorten this section for you real quick. Women no let me treat them like it gorilla days! Fucking whores! Disgusting! Disgusting whores! There you go. If you want to skip forward, now's your cue, because we're going to be here for a while. All right, sweet. Here we go. Now, when I say gorilla days, I mostly mean that in terms of rape. See here, this article reveals that the Pond Scum rape-heavy show redo of Healer is more popular with women. Well, I say revealed, but in reality, the totally not a goblin human and totally trustworthy creator of this epic gamer rape fantasy makes the claim that his show is viewed more by a female audience. He cites these facts using statistics from an undisclosed streaming site. Now, I bet my life that he's telling the truth. I bet my fucking second nut. I'm fucking sure he's telling the truth. Now, that's the article, but the comments, and you're gonna find this out soon enough, the comments are where the real money's at. It seems like God/nature really made women to be like that. No matter how feminists want to think they're strong and independent, women are naturally whores. They are born for this. They'd like to get raped by Chad, though, not from the average male. If these are what average males are, I'd loathe to see what a below-average male looks like. And if you are disgusted by these takes, then congrats! In the eyes of these ape brains, you are a Chad. So go out there and fuck some women with raging success. As some people have tried and inadequately explained, yes, rape fetishes aren't uncommon for women, but that ain't whorish behavior. That's a fetish. If you aren't a piece of shit, you keep that stuff in the bedroom. Additionally, going back to the good old gorilla days would also mean reeling back some of those rights women currently have. Let's just peel back on that stuff. We're going a wee bit too far. Women really need to go back to the kitchen, where they belong. Politic is just too hard for them. Sheesh. But alright, that's just one take. In a comment thread suggesting that men have it exponentially harder than women, I found this gem. Females do far worse shit. For starters, they murder their infants by the hundreds of thousands every year. They beat their children more than men do. Could I get some statistics for that? They raise their boys to be either fats or effeminate beta males if there are no strong father figures around. Could I get some statistics for that? They pimp their daughters. Hey boss, could I get some statistics for that? Also, why do you care about their daughters? Aren't they also fee-fails? And they sell their kids. Hey boss, could I get some more statistics for that? They let their boyfriend molest their kids. That sounds more like the boyfriend's crime, and also, could I get some statistics for that? Now, just to be clear, men do experience sexism and can find themselves regarded as likely to act in certain conformist ways. But the beings on this site are not fighting against sexism towards men, they just really, really hate women. Speaking of hating women, this next article is a 2-for-1 and is a great transition into talking about homophobia. New DC Comics work stars fat and gay daughter of Starfire. Whew. Now, from a glance, this work, also known as a comic, from a conceptual standpoint, does seem like a piece of shit. Though not for any of the reasons stressed in this article. It just looks like it plain sucks. And apparently it does. But I don't really see how this work is pandering to any one community when the creator is in fact gay. But I ain't here for the dog shit articles. I'm here for the based comment sections. Fat gay midget. Eloquently put. Just beautiful. Let's take a look at another example. First, someone types some pretty racist stuff. Legit, real cringe. But luckily, nobody liked it, so at least we know they stand up against racism. I am glad you understand, faggot Jew. But not homophobia. They love homophobia. They groom and rape little kids. Factory is spread that way. Jesus Christ. Again, we see some racism, which of course is retorted with bzzz, wrong! Nobody wants to be American, tranny, faggot, fat, trash eater, and constantly raped, both physically and morally, by Jews. All right. You know what? It is way too hard to cover both this site's homophobia and its racism in two separate sections. So how about we just edit the title card for this and add "and racism." Homophobia and racism. Because it is just impossible otherwise. Check out the author Mariko Tamaki's Wikipedia. The fat character looks just like her, and the author is half Japanese, half Jewish. Know your enemy. They're always Jewish. Here we see someone who fancies himself something of a comedian. He's got the funny, epic, evil Jew stock image from 2011 as his profile pic, and he extends upon us his wisdom. Your hentai's not safe, Goyim. You Japanese serve our knicker dick agenda. Now they're servants to our black cock crusade. Pedo Jews at it again as usual. This is why Japan should ban those who cut wangs and long beak noses. The long-nosed tribesmen of the illegitimate state of Israel should be nuked immediately. They are the ones subverting your culture, about to ruin Japan. Diversity is another term for genocide. I don't know, guys. This might be a toss-up, but I don't think these folks think too kindly of Jewish people. But they don't just hate Jews. No. We can't just have the Jews be the only ones in the spotlight. Let's throw a few more minorities into the ring. Why can't ISIS finish the job and exterminate America? America's extermination is the right thing to do, but isn't it a nigger's job? Here we see a based as fuck Chad fighting pedophilia, which we'll get to. He says, simply, nasty ass otaku pedo. Better otaku pedo than nigger faggot. Site The Guardian claims anime gets blackness wrong. Well, if this is what the typical black representation in anime looks like, then yeah, I'd say they're getting it wrong. Hazardous website The Guardian has participated in the usual SJW beatdown of harmless fictional hobbies as anime is once again attacked, this time with the site uploading a video claiming that anime gets blackness wrong. A comment further solidified the video's destructive reasoning, as The Guardian merely gave a "here, read this" response. Anyways, here, read this person's comment that explains everything for me. Unfortunately for the author, this comment does not explain everything. Instead, their argument is that it's a part of the medium and that it isn't racism because everything is exaggerated in anime. Even though there's a pretty clear difference in how some anime studios portray the Japanese and how they depict African people. Now, neither The Guardian nor the video in question are unfallible. The video kind of sucks, if I'm gonna be honest. Watch it if you want, but let's get back to the meat and potatoes. Let's get back to these racist comments. So, they want more real black characters in anime? Kind of hard, since no one wants to watch a black guy steal, sell drugs, get into shootouts with the cops, and blame the main character for being racist towards him because he wouldn't give him his lunch. They should be thankful that Japan includes them in anything and makes them likable. Based. What world are you from where you think any of this shit is even remotely true? Again, these individuals' geniosity is found within the comments of an article focused around Australia. Nippers and mud slimes are allowed to rape children and they will be protected by officials. Now, that's an interesting claim, and doing any research on this subject will provide zero evidence of any of that shit happening. Mud slimes fucking their child brides? A-OK! Again, you will find zilch proof of Muslim pedophiles being protected by Australian officials. This just sounds like a fuck ton of projecting. And you will find the same level of bitchiness in articles regarding France. France should ban Muslims instead of worrying about this. This person is talking about is lollies, which, don't worry, we will get to. Those beheadings are false flags, which serve as a rallying point for the nigger-cuck banker Macron, since his popularity is in the shitter, having forced Frenchmen into draconian lockdowns. Hey, France! When do you ban Mohammeds? What happened to these people for them to hate brown people so much? Like, goddamn. I got some names. Well, that was a fun ride. Gee whiz. What a bunch of disgusting trash piles. But hey, now we get to move on to calling out pedophilia. Got all my notes right here. Wait. What's this? Oh no. Oh no, 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 no! Listen, this topic is too insurmountable in its very existence on this site that in order to move on, it needs to be at least touched on, though I'll be doing more than touching on it. You thought the previous sections were bad? Well, you're right, but this shit is also pretty terrible. Remember that non-article about Destiny 2 changing its character creator to no longer refer to the selections as male and female? And when I say non-article, I mean non-article. Legit, it's just 3 run-on sentences. Well, luckily for us, there's more. The comments were absolutely brimming with a mass of unfiltered, homogenized, disgusting pulp. Too much faggot people in the world. There's another game I won't be wasting money on. Thanks. Trannies are not going to get my money. Wipe that shit-eating grin off your face, Anonymous. Also, hate to break it to you, Holmes, but the game's free. Bungie's already said, done, cucked out stuff before this, though. Perhaps homo stuff before this trans BS, but it's moot. They're both gender dysphoric psychosis. Even homo is realized. I am very thankful to learn from this illiterate trog that wanting to suck a bloke's cock and, mayhaps, identifying with having said cock are indeed the exact same thing. This is baffling. Why bother? I could see this being a legitimate thing in an anime game where you can have tomgirls and tomboys look perfectly like their real-life counterparts, but Destiny is, aesthetically, a realistic game. Reality has constraints on how much men look like women and vice versa. Just a pointless change. It's not justified. I'd say that the small bit of effort that it would have taken to change just 2 words is justified for the potential of a slight uptick in the game's player base and player goodwill. And this argument as a whole is just trash. Not only does this person somehow confuse cross-dressing with gender, but this person also thinks that because a game looks realistic, it is bound by the rules of our reality. Despite there being space magic, blue people, dimensional rifts, and wish dragons, the apparently intangible concept of gender is where we need to draw the line on this. Well, if I had $1 for every gender, then I would have $2. If I had $1 for every time I've heard this fucking joke, I'd be able to buy every extra-large dildo from baddragon.com. Not that I would, however. I'm just trying to give you a spectrum on how much money I'd have. And so the sickness continues to spread. I never thought I'd see a time where declaring your sex would be controversial. So these past 2 comments pretty much expose what I'd assume is one of the main reasons for this site's transphobia, and that is a misunderstanding on the concepts of gender and sex. And I could explain what I'm talking about no better than what this absolute king commented on this post. He dredged through the nightmarish slop that is this site, clawing through the fat and delivering upon us some actual, fresh as fuck truths. I don't see why this is so outrageous. People aren't trying to deny basic human biology, as you claim. You might have somewhat of a point if this was about options of sex, assuming that you ignore intersex people, but this is about gender. I understand that the two are often conflated, but they absolutely don't mean the same thing. Whereas sex refers to biology, which chromosomes you're born with, gender serves more as a social function. It's the accumulation of how we present ourselves to others, and some people are more masculine than feminine, or vice versa. Usually a person's gender matches with their sex, but sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay. I mean this with all due respect when I say please do some basic research before writing a reactionary article which hundreds of people will see. It may seem outrageous to you with your current mindset, but it is clear that you don't understand the subject very well. I'm not faulting you per se, though, as it's super common to reject something if you don't understand it. We all do it from time to time. I'm going to break my own rule for just a second here and uncover this user's name because I want to thank them personally. But thank you, I sexed the pumpkin. You are the man I aspire to be. And in an attempt to be more like this absolute god, I'm going to be operating this section a wee bit differently. I'm going to use this shitty little soapbox that I'm standing upon to sort of debunk some of the silly goofball takes that are decried on this silly little site. So, yeah, let's do that. Alright, here's a story about some dude who apparently cross-dressed and flashed several women. Obviously, that's fucking disgusting, but we're here to focus on the comments, alright? So, despite all the signs in this particular story pointing towards the criminal in question being a feller, the comments, unsurprisingly, decided to make the story about trans people. Remember how we're all transphobic for pointing out that this would happen with transgender bathrooms and that it wouldn't happen? While barely legible, the comment statement is clear. They believe the good old chestnut about how transgender people are actually just perverts trying to peep in on the other sex's business. And despite a Chad's attempts to reach out and educate this and other estrayed souls, the truth continues to elude them. The truth is there's likely nothing fishy going on with transgendered people going into whatever they consider their gender's bathroom. Many state rulings have allowed trans people to use the restroom they believe suits their gender for a while now, and security officials and police have no evidence to prove that anything pervy has gone down because of these rulings. Interestingly enough, the victims of allowing trans people into their preferred bathrooms would likely be trans people. Another shitty article. I don't care. Comments. Let's rock. Quit crying, you fucking toxic little manlet baby. Trans people don't even fucking affect you, someone says. As a toxic manlet baby myself, I am a bit offended by this comment, but whatever. Now, of course, you can't say these things about the residents of this fair site. They will not allow it. You'll off yourself soon, tranny. Don't get too high and mighty. They want to be loved for who they are. But they themselves are denying what they are, which is either she or he. It's like all this trans people and shit want to be something else, but they know they can't. So they think that if everyone else believe they are something they aren't, everything is solved. But that doesn't happen. And at the end, instead of hope, they go for a rope. Agreed. I don't respect people with no self-respect who have sacrificed their humanity. Really? So what these totally bogus nerds are referring to is the wrong idea that after transitioning, a transgender person ends up realizing that they were wrong to transition, are regretful of their decision to transition, and end up depressed and/or end up committing suicide. Now, there is an unfortunate connection between depression/suicide with trans people, but for the very most part, and I don't want to speak for every person who's ever transitioned, transgender people experience suicidal tendencies not because of regret. In fact, it seems that there is less regret and therefore less suicide after transitioning, but because of discrimination and a lack of identity affirmation from family and/or peers. Which, yeah, makes sense. I'd imagine it sucks pretty hard for a major part of your identity to be completely disregarded by people who should, realistically, be there for you. There's also gender dysphoria, which is oftentimes mistaken for just being the entirety of transgenderism, but it isn't. Gender dysphoria can develop in transgender people, but it's something that usually only happens if they have yet to transition. As the name suggests, gender dysphoria happens when someone feels distressed in their own skin, their gender. The solution to this dysphoria is to transition. It's a symptom of lack of progress. It's not the whole of transgenderism. When it's conflated, you get terrible takes like, "Hey, look at me! I have no penis! I cut it off so I am progressive!" That. Which, this take is just dumb. I see it often and it seems so weird to me, as if surgically removing a cock is any different than how other surgeries operate. When I got my wisdom teeth pulled, they just gave me some gauze shit and told me to put it in my mouth as I continuously gushed blood from my gums. It felt so archaic, but that's how it works. Surgery is as graceful as carpentry, but when someone consensually decides to remove their own wee-wee, these people start to really care. They think that emasculation is indicative of a final straw. As if it's when these subhuman scum decide to go voluntarily under the knife that they fully transform into just scum. As we've discussed, it's nothing like that. It's the complete opposite. The interesting thing is that not every male to female trans person will go through emasculation when it comes to their dick. Plenty decide to, keep it. Which, whatever, you do you, Holmes. But it's ridiculous for this site that hates trans people so much to consume the most Fudanari porn of any website ever. I love photos with big, meaty balls. I love the impact sound when she pounds her. The fuck is up with these bullshit tags? No half is a ton those freaks came up with. This is Futanari, not a tranny.
Futanari Among Us lewd mod rapes the competition.
I'd be unfazed to learn that the only reason they find Futanari acceptable is because it's made in Japan. Nah, that ain't even that far-fetched. I've already discussed how these articles almost always have some anime fucko attached to it, regardless of if it's related or not, but also, they just straight up romanticize a country they've likely never been to. Their constant hating of America and the West as a whole, and acting as if Japan is the last bastion of hope for based people like them, and is becoming tainted by the evil SJW doctrine. It's just pathetic. To them, Japan's toes need suckling, lest their perfect utopia become too tarnished. And that's just not the case. Like every country ever, Japan is imperfect, and it's not hard to see why. I mean, Christ, it took them till 2014 to fully ban the possession of recorded child pornography. Better late than never, I guess. But even then, the country allows the continued operation of businesses that are most directly comparable to above-ground trafficking of minors, with shit like JK businesses. How shit like that is chill is beyond me. Though it sort of rationalizes why there is so much romanticization and enjoyment from this site, especially when it comes to... Jesus, took me long enough to get here, you think? But we're here. The reason this video exists. Lollies! Yay! We had to get all that other shit out of the way before we could get here. And you are going to see some overlap with previous sections, but that just seems to come with the subject matter. So if all the phobias from the previous sections wasn't enough for you, you'll have gotten more than enough by the end. Alright? So, yeah. Let's get into it. November 25th, 2020. Doomsday. France bans access to N-hentai and claims site contains child pornography. Alright, wait, hold it. I just want to quickly say that while the existence of lollies is repulsive, and if you haven't already guessed, probably should have brought this up earlier, lollies, specifically those of the lolicon variant, are sexually charged pieces of work focusing on animated children. Right. Despite me thinking that shit is nasty, I'm not sure I can really support this form of censorship by the French government, even if it initially seems good-intentioned. If I had the ability to make viewing lolliporn punishable in some way, I would. But it seems really fucking lazy to just erase an entire website from viewing. The site in question wasn't just lolliporn. There's shit on that site that is very much not problematic. Well, as unproblematic as hentai can be. In a case like that, you've got to scrub the site clean so that what's fine stays. Not drop the fucking A-bomb on top of it. I don't have the solutions, but I'm just saying. Regardless of France's decision, the criticisms in the comments of this article are not as well articulated as my own. And why would I expect anything less from a hentai site with so many results for lollies? Which is just a cute way of saying child porn, and that's what lolly porn is, okay? It's child porn, and I'm here to prove that to you. Alright, so starting off with the article itself, they bring up CUTIES, which was a French-made movie that was distributed through Netflix in 2020 and removed shortly after because of the justified outrage it caused. I don't want to spend too much time here, but I'm gonna say something potentially controversial. I don't think the idea behind the film is or was bad. Right, so the film supposedly covers and criticizes the sexualization of young girls, specifically those who partake in dance competitions and the sort. It's the exact opposite of pedophile catering. Well, in theory. In practice, the movie criticizes pedophilia by giving pedophiles much of what they want. The film apparently features multiple scenes of suggestive dancing while the camera pans in and zooms around them, and even a scene that actually features partial child nudity. Instead of the film being shot in a way that recognizes the sickening and manipulative things happening to these 11-year-old girls, it's often shot like a softcore porno. This is the equivalent of me making a film criticizing bestiality, but having one of the scenes feature a guy fucking his cat on a heart-shaped bed surrounded by rose petals while Barry White plays in the background. The filmmaker may have had good intentions, and I have no reason to believe that the presumably straight woman director was trying to make softcore child porn, but this film is a woefully misguided clusterfuck as far as I can tell. Alright, let's get to the comments.
Hey, friends, how about you ban cuties and then maybe you can take the moral high ground?
They made that abomination?
I have one of best fap in Cuties movie. I wish they make another film. But that movie only has nigger girls. Disgusting! Who wants to watch that?
That's not true. One of the girls in Cuties was white. Ugly as hell, but white. I mean, seriously, they had to have gone out of their way to find a white girl that was simply not attractive. Maybe she gave the casting directors better BJs. You know, for a site with a large amount of lolly porn that tries to claim that lollies aren't conflatable to real children, there sure are a lot of pedophiles here, aren't there? Not enough for you? Perhaps you only see these as edgy jokes. Okay, here. Disgusting article about filmed underage forced nudity that happened at a middle school that feels unfitting for a porn site? Not even surprising. 146 comments? Let's go! I've read this douge, what the fuck? Before. It was hot. Had a different ending, though. Whatever that is, I want to join them. I'm calling the police on you. Apparently, finding that gross offended 2 people enough for them to dislike that comment. Extremely hot. I would have been recording the incident as well. Please release the footage. The only way to confirm that this really happened is to post the footage. Post video now! How awful! The video should be posted here so we can confirm what happened.
Child rape stats would be quite lower in countries with a legal sex age of 13.
Post the footage! I think at least one of these people might be a pedophile. Can't really put my finger on why, though. Viz Media translator for Jujutsu Kaisen arrested for child porn crimes. Actual child porn or busty 14-year-olds having fun? I would defend him saying it's a victimless crime, but I bet that he's one of the Twitter-using trannies that hate anime/manga and are trying to destroy it by denouncing fans and artists for their tastes in art.
Cute little preteen girls are fine, since nature made it so they're meant to be fucked by men of all ages. However, he probably had sexual photos of boys, which is disgusting, not because of their age, but because of the gayness.
Very true. No, yeah, there are some definite pedophiles here. And they also seem to really enjoy blaming the victim. That victim being a child. They're blaming children for getting raped. Children aren't as innocent as the general public thinks. Underage girls dress skimpy and record themselves all the time doing sexual shit. It's all over the darknet, but one doesn't even need to go that far. It spreads around social media too, until it's struck down by moderation. Only the men that view the content go to jail. The skanky, horny preteen that recorded herself masturbating, nothing happens to her. Want to view that content legally? Gotta be underage yourself. The laws are designed only to cock-block men. Nothing more, nothing less. We all know underage girls are horny for Chad and are very willing to whore out their pussy if they can get fashionable shit so they can brag to the other bitches. As you say, all the laws and hysteria aren't there to protect the girls, but to cock-block men. Oh, so true. The alternative is just so much better. Like, I just can't even Oh no, that's not good at all. This is seriously just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to their love of child rape and victim blaming. But what about lollies, you say? You've only covered people partaking in IRL pedophilia. How's this all connected to lollies? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Drawings ain't children, therefore they can't be child porn. Motherfuck.
It's dessert, but it's hot dogs, so it's good for you.
We gotta start out by retreading what I've said before. Lolly porn is child porn. The first 2 arguments to take note of from those on this site who disagree go as follows. The all-American classic, this one's great. The good old, she looks 8, but she's actually a 300-year-old dragon princess, so it's all good, my man, argument. And 2, the previously seen, it's not a child, it's a drawing. Drawings can't be children, argument. The first argument is totally antithetical and regressive and defends jack shit. It changes nothing that she's actually 1,000 years old when she's always visually and often characteristically a fucking child. The argument is constantly made fun of for a reason. If it looks like a child and talks like a child, I think it's fair to say it's probably a child. The second argument is a larger can of worms, but not by much. It's still just as flawed as the previous. The argument that drawings of children can't be children is technically true. A drawing is not a living, breathing thing. But if that's the argument, then why ever get invested in an anime? Or anything animated for that matter? Sure, you might get teared up if, Setsuko dies, but she ain't real. She's a drawing. So who gives a fuck? Who cares if the animated character clearly supposed to represent a young child gets fucking deaded? Obviously, what I just said is ridiculous. If the movie or show or whatever does its job well, then that drawn character should come to life, and if you like them, what happens to them should matter to you. What I'm saying is, animated or not, the lolly shit these weirdos so ungracefully defend is supposed to be animated porn featuring kids. Even the shitty, unintuitive hentai site itself concedes that this shit is supposed to represent children. Anime, and especially hentai, heavily mimic reality. As a meat jacker, jack of all trades myself, I know why I beat my shrewd meat to animated women. It's because they look like women, and I like women. I don't, and I'm sure most others don't, masturbate to hentai because the characters look so especially unlike real people that they become intangibly obtuse and no longer exhibit what's considered conventionally attractive. You'd notice a sharp decrease in meat smackage if all of a sudden all hentai babes and babettes were John Arbuckle-looking motherfuckers. The next argument that I've seen all too often is another classic, the video game violence argument. Under that ridiculous criteria, all games based on killing people with all kind of weapons, anyone who play that kind of games should be considered as killer and be condemned to the lethal injection, electric chair, hanging, or life imprisonment just for playing games. This argument almost makes sense, until it crumbles like the fucking Lighthouse of Alexandria. And here's why. You are not jacking off to the blood and guts when you play or watch a violent game or movie. Well, I'm sure some are, but that's usually not the intent of the media, and definitely not the intent of the media likely being referenced in these arguments. You are, however, intended to masturbate to sexually explicit representations of children. With violence in media, you can represent that shit properly. There are things like the Final Destination movies or one of the Saw sequels that do present violence poorly, where they shittily balance tones that fail to enthrall or excite the viewers. It's just torture porn. But you can also present violence well. Sometimes the violence is so clearly over the top that it's intended to not gross out, but entertain the viewer. And other times it's supposed to scare you or make you uncomfortable. Sometimes you can even have both in the same game or movie or whatever if you're real smart about it. Again, masturbating to pornography of an animated child is only ever for sexual pleasure, while violence in media can sure as hell be way more nuanced. It's almost never gore porn, which is something I'm sure these motherfuckers on this site are familiar with, because they've got a tab for that. Another argument I've heard that's kind of baffling is the argument that lolly porn is actually a great alternative for pedophiles, that it dissuades them from doing something they might regret. That's right. The child porn that totally isn't child porn just so happens to be something that apparently attracts people who like child porn. One more thing, taking a safe outlet from potentially dangerous people will only force them to seek out real children, but I'm sure nobody in Reddit HQ really thought it through. Oh wow, I didn't know porn was the only thing holding them back from raping children. Jesus, thank God I can smack it to Lucy Lee without the fear of being taken away. Otherwise I'd be liable to try and rape any woman within a 30-mile radius. Okay, but seriously, let's actually consider this argument for a minute. If lolly porn is alright, a safe outlet, and is not, by these people, considered child porn, then when is an outlet unsafe? How far do these people think the boundaries can be pushed? According to this site, the boundaries are pretty fucking thin. In another case of masterclass journalism, our favorite site in the whole wide world covers a case where a Japanese artist of 3D child porn was found guilty of child pornography offenses. A wholesome article that begins with defending animated child porn based on real-life images of nude children. Which, by the way, artists using real-life reference images isn't uncommon at all. The comments section on this article, of course, features the brightest of the bright. Scholars who somehow managed to not even read the fucking thing because their greatest conundrum was answered in the goddamn article. Of course, there is the problem where, what if the artist just memorizes child anatomy from a source and is able to replicate it in memory? Is it still illegal then? Was a real child abused to make it, or was their image sullied? If no one is harmed, then morally, it is not a crime. Those who were capable of reading were surprisingly disgusted by the fact that this artist drew reference from real-life nude children. They were, of course, promptly disciplined for having such controversial opinions. Alright, so 3D child porn based on real-life explicit child nudity is apparently fine. Another safe outlet for pedophiles, I guess. Okay. So, how much further can this site and its users push that boundary? Well... Beep beep! Ah! Australia, cucked Australia, willing to transform the country into an Orwellian dystopia, decided to make ownership of child sex dolls a punishable offense back in 2019. Obviously, the heroes of this site will not take this news sitting down. No! They will stand up against Australia's tyranny. Hands in the air! Dicks out! Dicks dangerously close to a silicon child. Of course, the Jimmy Neutron boy geniuses of this site pull out the outlet defense. Pedos may use childlike sex dolls to relieve themselves. The government takes them away from pedos. Pedos commit crimes. Huh. Facepalm. Again, I really doubt pedophilic sexual stimuli is going to quell any urges. This take, one of many, of course, continues the argument that this shit is all a safe outlet. From 2D child porn to 3D child porn explicitly confirmed to be based off of real children to now defending sex dolls based off of children. Not only defending it, but advertising child sex dolls. And if you find this shit disgusting, you can apparently go fuck yourself. Which is preferable to fucking a child sex doll, so you got them beat. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean the Lolinco Virgo Premium Soft. Sorry I got that wrong. You gotta be on the money when naming these things. Like, this isn't a corpse. No, this is my Guro Ultra Comfort Plus. Nah, seriously, at what point would these people stop defending this goblin-brained shit? Is it actual child porn? Because this site and its users have certainly not given me any reason to doubt they'd have any objections. At what point is it defending things just out of some reactionary need to cover up any tracks that may lead to the source of their obsession? An obsession, hobby, that these people seem to feel is harmless. But is it harmless? I think no. No, it's not harmless. There is a very real connection between outlets like child sex dolls and pedophilic actions. And even more specifically, and because I see no reason to believe that the people of this site have any objections to IRL child porn, I'd like to point out that the arguments for and against lolly porn as an outlet is directly paralleled in arguments for and against physical child porn as an outlet. Now, I hope this isn't too controversial, but as I already doubt lolly porn is a safe outlet, I really doubt actual CP is either. Not only have I found plenty of sources that suggest a direct link between CP consumption and physical assault, as well as legal pedophilic outlets being an escalation factor for pedophiles, but it also just makes logical sense, right? How in the world would feeding a dangerous sexual fantasy that could be tangibly realized be at all the proper approach to subduing a pedophile's urges? Addiction isn't rooted out by giving the addicted what they think they need, and I'm not suggesting solving it by making them go cold turkey, though it is preferable to something like, we're gonna lower the dosage of child porn to maybe once a day, and then we'll give you 3D child porn, then animated little girls, just to make it an easier transition from freaky illegal shit to, like, the normal stuff. There is, in my mind, only one real solution to pedophilia, and it's a scary little word that starts with a T and rhymes with Cherokee. Now, unfortunately, I would be dishonest if I were to say that this proves lolly porn or 3D CP or child sex doll consumption as criminal activities. In plenty of developed nations, these things still happen to be protected by the law. I know, it's disappointing. I wish I could, using this video, stand before the governments of the world and, with evidence in hand and a chub in my pants, prove that this nasty, nasty shit is indeed criminal. But unfortunately, that ain't the world we live in. Lollicons get to continue about their days and get their freaky fists on to totally healthy, totally chill, totally not children child porn. But for anyone on this site to suggest that there is not something morally offensive about consuming lolly porn is definitely bullshit. The things the people on this site type, whether it be the comments or the articles themselves, are most certainly not the works of moral paragons. No, they're pretty fucked up. If lolly porn is this totally safe outlet or totally harmless, how come these people type some of the most offensive and just flat out psycho shit I have ever seen? The culture these people surround themselves in is almost certainly unhealthy. Remember when Hitler burned a lot of books and paintings? Yep, this is the same, but in a online state. All this woke/SJW shit is being so absurd that you can no more express art in form of illustrations and animations anymore. We live in a new era of banning ways of expression. They've gotten a far cry away from defending their hobby, and now plenty consider themselves an oppressed minority. The globalists are cracking down on the lollies, and the big bully lollyphobes are on the hunt for their sadly waning numbers. But this site's taught me to hate minorities, so I'm kind of at an impasse, aren't I? You see this creepy, sexualized little girl VTuber? Well, if you speak out negatively about her, then you're a degenerate with skeletons in your closet. That's right! It was you! You are the pedophiles! And don't you see? Don't you see? Look, all these VTubers, who, as we all know, are the moral pinnacles of humanity, have good taste in appreciating the concept of lolly. Don't you see? You're on the wrong side of history, bucko! Quit spreading your bigoted vitriol and narrow worldview.
Yes, lewd this lolly. I fap to her. And to all the haters, stay mad.
I'm stoked for porn of her. Now, I searched through each of these Twitter users' closets and was unable to find any skeletons. But I was reminded of why I'm scared to make a Twitter account. I also looked through my own closet, both physically and metaphorically. And again, no skeletons. If I end up on an FBI database, then yeah, I'm the degenerate. You can call me out on that from the exterior of my padded cell. But that won't be happening anytime soon. I'm clean, baby. Truthfully speaking, you guys are a bit weird when it comes to that lolly shit. If I'm gonna be honest, it seems like you guys are just a bit—
You are a low-seated gyno-goon cuck. You are a mentally ill, projecting Discord tranny, child-grooming subhuman. You should kill your single mommy and then kill yourself! Whatever you say, glow-knicker child-grooming tranny from Discord.
And when they're done making some of the most pitiful defenses ever seen, and when they're done exclaiming that the sky is falling, they come before you with their final defense. One last hurrah. Hey, f*** it! Why don't you start thinking about the children? Why are you wasting your time on lollies and not fighting the real fight? Open your eyes! Now, yes, if given the option to end all child sex trafficking or all lolly porn consumption, I'd choose the former. But there is more than enough time and more than enough people on this planet to condemn it all. And it's not like this site hasn't shown an attraction to both. Whether it be lollies or 3D lollies. Yes, that's right. Some of these guys are so far gone they call real, breathing children 3D lollies. This guy here likes to go back and forth between the two. Whether it be sexy caramel cuties or ugly nigger girls. Whether it be loving fudas with big, meaty balls, or deriding disgusting subhuman trannies, and whether it be admiring barely clothed maidens, or being disgruntled by useless slut fee-fails, it's clear to me this site harbors the dredges of humanity. And I could keep going. I really could. Like, these people probably have 3 terabytes of degenerate lolly porn on their computers. I could easily show you another 3 terabytes of screen caps exposing more of their degeneracy. But I promised you a taste of hell, and it would just be redundant to keep on going, as well as inadvisable. Like continuing to stick your already flayed dick into a box fan. Alright, we made it to the end. You made it to the end. Thank you for making it to the end. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. Now, I want to say a few closing remarks before you shut this off for good, okay? So just stick around for just one little second, okay? First thing, this video was fairly hardcore, and it was also pretty political. At least, I talked about the social aspects of the world quite a bit. And I don't want that to be my channel. Obviously, my opinions are going to show up. Maybe even my politics are going to sneak in there. but I don't want that to be the focus, because I think political YouTubers and political takes on YouTube, they often lack nuance, and I don't want that to be my channel. Second, I would really like some criticism. Not that I have to ask for this on YouTube, but I would like some criticism. What was good, what was bad, some constructive shit. You know, don't call me a bitch unless I am a bitch. But yeah, I'd appreciate some criticism. So, third, I'm sure some of you noticed that some of the articles that were shown were from like 2019. That's like 2,000 years ago. Even 2020, that's like a million years ago. I don't know. Crazy. Are the people on this site still homophobic, transphobic, sexist, racist, and pedophiles? You bet your ass they are. You bet your booty they are. And fourth, I don't know when my next video is going to be out and what it's going to be about, but it's probably not going to be this long. But I just want to let you know that there will be more videos to come. So stick around if you'd like. Excuse me. I would really appreciate it. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Again, thank you. I'm done. I'm free. I'm going to go take a massive geyser-sized piss out of my dick hole. I'm so fucking happy right now. God bless you. God bless America. God bless the gamers. And God bless my toilet. Yeah, peace, boys.